All right, this is an important lesson. I think this is a good one. I think they're all pretty good, but I really like this one because I think it could have the potential to help a lot of guitar players get out of the crutches of and the clutches of big form picture chords. And big form picture chords have their place. When I say a big form picture chord, I mean sort of this kind of thing, right? That's a big. You probably learned that on a picture. It's somebody, a chord diagram, and there you go, bam. That's what you get. G major seven. That's all you get. Don't talk to me about anything else, right? But there's so much more to it than that. And actually, technically speaking, this kind of playing is harder than learning to abbreviate your voicings, which is what we're going to do today, and look at voice leading, also what we're going to do today. So abbreviated voicings with voice leading. So let's use How High the Moon as a case in point for learning this kind of thing. So we're going to start with a G major seven chord. Now this is a big form picture chord, and it's nice. It works great, especially when you don't bar it. Because when you bar stuff, it sort of prevents, all of a sudden it locks your hand. I know there are people that do it very well, like Joe Pass. Don't come back at me with that one, please. Yeah, Joe Pass had this crazy ability to bar and play, but from a more classical perspective, you want to keep your hands open and you don't want to lock them down, right? Okay, now um, there's the G major seven chord, but we're going to abbreviate it a little bit. I don't really need that fifth in the chord, right? So what if I just take it out? So it works, right? The fifth is sort of redundant, so we're just going to take that fifth out of there. And look at what happens when I want to change to the G minor seven. See, there's my G major seven. There's my G minor seven. I haven't taken any fingers off the same strings. I'm just still, on the fretboard, firm and, feeling confident. Now, and so we call this finger here, a common finger, and we call these two fingers here guide fingers, right? So we haven't left. We're guiding with a common finger, very strong. And now to get to the C7, I just flip these two around. I still have my baby finger on the top. So I have and then now I still have my baby finger down. There's F major 7, same movement. And then now still baby finger, still hasn't moved off the fretboard. And still hasn't moved off the fretboard for the A minor 7. Right, and then D7. Right, still hasn't moved off the fretboard. And then now the G minor 7. All right, so let's take a look at that from the top. We eliminate the fifth. Move these these 2 fingers back. Move down to just voice leading. We'll talk about voice leading in a second. And then we have the right, now we're on the top string set. Well, I'm still in the middle string set with 3 strings here. D7, I just voice lead that back. And then the the G minor 7. And then we have A minor 7 flat 5. That's the first time I'm leaving the fretboard. D7. Everything, 2 fingers in common here, just like that movement. A minor 7 flat 5. D7 flat 9, same as a diminished, and then major 7. Right? A minor 7. D7. I'm just using the 13 there, right? I'm just going to do that. So from the beginning. So are you missing that 5th? I'm not. And then the minor, major, turn around. You get the idea, right? Okay, so that seems to work pretty well. Now I'm going to take it even one step further, and that is we're going to do a chord substitution, and that's a really cool one. So when we go from the G major 7, we go to the G minor, to the C7, and then the substitution for the 7, we call it a tritone substitution, and that baby finger still doesn't move. So we've got this movement from a chromatic movement from the 5th, and then to the major 7. So let me just play that again so you can hear that. Minor. Now, you can also just completely take out the C7 and just play that as well. And then this and the same thing. Tritone substitution. You notice I'm not taking my fingers off. Right? So that's so what we're doing is we're voice leading. Now if we take, when I say voice leading, we're rather than take a big chord picture. Like for instance, I remember there was a time I used to play this thing like this, right? And in the bass lines would, you can hear them. Not terribly interesting, and really bulky, right? And very it doesn't honestly doesn't leave a lot of room if you're playing with a bass player. It doesn't leave a lot of room for the bass player, right? Because you're nailing all those big roots, and so on. So we're trying to get away from that, and instead just look at and listen for voices that are moving on the inside of the chords. Now, speaking of voices that are moving on the inside of the chords, you can hear. I'll play one voice that's moving, the top voice. Listen to this. Let me try that again. So, G major, G minor, C7, F major, F minor, B flat 7, B flat, A minor, D7. And it actually moves down a semitone again. So you've got this one voice on the top that's going. And so on, right? And if you learn to hear the voices like that, it really helps your improvisation, for instance, because you're instead of looking at then hearing the chords as big blocks of notes, now all of a sudden you're beginning to hear the chords in three, or well, in this case, three notes that are moving. So we've got in this case, we've got this note and this note. Right? Right? Now, those are two notes moving at the same time. If you can start to hear that way, and if you can start to think that way, there's becomes no difference or very little difference. Let's put it this way: the lines between chords and single notes start to fade, and it's just becomes voices moving around the fretboard. At different times or the same time, or whatever the case is. That's what voice leading it is all about. And also, it is much less technically intensive when you start to do this. It actually technically can be very, very simple to make these changes, and while at the same time you're staying out of the way of maybe a piano player or a bass player, so you don't have like three different bass lines going at the same time. You can just do these nice little shots, and everyone is happy, and you're playing an important role in an ensemble. All right, so I think that should have been of help to you, and just take remember, and don't forget the tritone substitution dominant. All right, so that means that when we have this, we go to, and we can do this or that. They are substitutes for each other. And when you go to the tritone substitution, you get a little bit more of a chromatic bass line happening. Okay, and it's a nice sound too. It's a little, a little more substantial, and it works great. All right, so that's it for taking a look at How High the Moon, and voice leading through through some nice, simple, smart changes, I think, and that'll be easy for you to play, I hope. All right, and so if that was a help to you, subscribe or click like, give us a comment, and we hope to see you again real soon.